Everybody knows you did the right thing on that bridge. Even the president knows. You gotta learn how to get back into the real world.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to What the Flick. Alonso Duralde, Christy, Lemire, Ben Mankiewicz. Matt is on assignment, or...
He's in New York.
Okay.
Let's go with on assignment.
On assignment sounds good. I don't know.
We're never on assignment.
And
I'm definitely never on assignment.
meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Olympus has fallen! Explain.
Yeah, so Olympus Has Fallen is, this movie is so Die Hard in the White House. There's like 15 things that made me think of Die Hard in this movie. The White House has been taken over by terrorists who they go incredibly out of their way to suggest isn't the North Korean government when it's obviously the North Korean government. They take it over in a precision-like strike, which is pretty goddamn cool. The president, Aaron Eckhart, is taken hostage, and it's up to a Secret Service agent with a checkered past, with a story to tell, Gerard Butler, a soccer dad, to save the day in Bruce Willis-like John McClane fashion.
Just open the gates of hell.
The United States of America doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
Who said anything about negotiating?
This is maybe the best Gerard Butler movie ever. Can we just put that out there?
Yeah, unless we're going to count like Coriolanus or whatever. Yeah, I think so.
Well, no, as always, we always have this conversation, then I say no, rock and rolla, and you go, oh yeah, that's right.
And rock and roll.
And you go, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
A starring role.
Yeah, of his
for Gerard
cheeseball
Butler.
big American movies,
Yes.
no question.
Yes. Our Scottish friend, Gerard Butler, is saving our country.
Whose Scottish accent still surfaces from time to time. And I'm thinking, can't they ADR this? Like, can they make him not sound like Groundskeeper Willie when it pops out of his mouth? Because it always does at some point.
I guess, I liked this, and I was really into it, and I hate to go back to the standard last half-hour criticism, but it's not quite that. It's just that there were so many moments in what was almost, for me, a very fun, nonsensical action movie, where, again, the audience is treated like morons, where there's some silly explanations of stuff that don't need to happen. One little line in general where he's talking to the people in the, in sitcom or whatever the hell it is. All of those parts, I think, written very sort of sloppily and poorly. Like those roles that Morgan Freeman plays as the Speaker of the House, as the acting president, could have ended up been played by anybody. I don't think those were written carefully.
You gravitas with Morgan Freeman, though.
You do, but I thought they lost on it with some of cheesy writing, where at one point they say, Robert Forster, one of my favorite actors in the world, is in this movie and doesn't do much. But they say, you've got to get whatever the bad guy is, Kang. Kang. You got to get Kang and the president out in the open, and then he goes, Roger, check. And you're like, what are you talking about? What does that mean?
Look, Robert Forster is Paul Gleason, and Morgan Freeman is Reginald Vell Johnson. Like, this is let's be clear, this is so die-harding. Totally. Like, down to the scene with the guy who's actually a bad guy, but he thinks he's a good guy, which is totally Hans Gruber doing an American accent. There's even, does the line "newsflash asshole" appear in Die Hard? Because when they say it in this movie, I'm like, oh my God, that's right out of Die Hard.
Now, a lot of
if it doesn't, it should have.
Yeah, a lot of the cadence of the little quips, though, is very, very die-hardy, down to like they're speaking to each other through like a walkie-talkie system, kind of.
Yeah.
And
it's
very similar.
But
Gerard Butler's not funny, though.
I thought in the moment where he runs into the bad guy who he thinks is a good guy, the scene you're talking about, and the good guy, I won't give it, we're not giving it away, that's why we're not saying who it is, although it's freaking obvious. I said it 5 seconds into the movie.
Yeah,
turncoat. But the guy's his cigarette is shaking. Right? And Hans Gruber, of course, was identified in Die Hard by John McClane because he smoked the European cigarettes with ease. So we knew he was not an American, but a European. And I thought, he's going to be smoking a Korean cigarette. And that's how Gerard Butler's going to figure out he's a bad guy.
Yeah, see, I'm very confused here as to whether this is intended to be an over-the-top homage or a straight, serious, badass action movie, because it's so self-serious a lot of the time.
I think it was meant to be serious.
I think so too.
Okay, but then it has this little quippy Die Hard moment. So it's so all over the place in tone, and it looks like crap. This is the darkest movie. Like, it's simultaneously over the top with its big action sequences, but also within the dark corridors of the White House when all the electricity is shut down. You can't really see what's supposed to be happening here. I mean, is it because they didn't know how to light it? Is it
Yeah,
because
I
it
agree.
wasn't
It
choreographed
looked-
well?
and I
don't
thought
know.
the whole idea that there's a plot line here that the president's kid is stuck in the White House and Gerard Butler has to get him. And I thought the whole idea would be, and they're worried about the president will do anything to save his son, so we got to get the kid out of the White House, or they'll use the kid as leverage if the bad guys get him. And then they dismissed with that. And like, I just thought there was so many opportunities for what I thought was going to be cool and interesting.
Yeah, because they set the kid up as being like really tight with the Secret Service guy, so he knows all the ins and outs of the White House. He's like Eric Shea in the Poseidon Adventure. Like he knows the boat, he knows where the steel is the thinnest, you know. And yeah, so there was a real potential there to do something kind of cool with that. And yeah, they save him real fast.
Yeah, and then it's not. And I thought that might have been interesting. And then I thought, will the president give up the secret code to save his son when he knows it could jeopardize millions? No, we're not going to answer that question. We don't care.
Yeah, and it's also very, very front-loaded in terms of like the score and like setting the tone for the heaviness. And so the same sort of occurs when Gerard Butler is just walking through the Treasury Department lobby, as well as when things really start to get hairy. This self-serious military rat-a-tat. I don't know. This movie is just so silly. It's so self-serious and it's so stupid and so silly.
They do wisely put people like Morgan Freeman and Angela Bassett and Robert Forster in to make it feel like it's
a real movie.
A Melissa Leo, like it's more important than it is. I mean, this movie is super dopey, but I had a really good time.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I was never bored. I was kind of going with it. Even when I was laughing at its excesses, at its sort of, America fuck yeah-ness, I was still having a good time.
I was never bored either, and I just there's a moment when a hostage is being dragged by their hair, and the hostage recites
the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
Bloody,
oh my God!
dragging.
And we saw it with some regular people, and they're like, "Woo!"
Oh yeah, there was a lot of crazy clapping in this movie. It is it's worth noting this movie was screened at CPAC. Just saying.
Right?
Yes, it was actually.
I'm not going to lower my score.
Can I mention really fast? I mean, so it's been 12 years now since 9/11. Clearly, it is finally time for us to enjoy watching our monuments get destroyed by airplanes. I mean, the Washington Monument gets sheared. Like a giant military plane comes in and shears it in half, and you see it crumble like the towers crumbled. Do we feel uncomfortable at all in any way?
I thought about that a lot. I thought, yeah, we feel uncomfortable, but I mean, I think it's okay to feel uncomfortable.
But they want us to enjoy it. They want a visceral kind of like entertainment reaction.
I don't think they want ooh. I think they want you to feel it.
Would it feel nervous and uncomfortable? You think?
I think
it's supposed to be fun.
Dave thinks it's too soon and too weird. For me, the whole thing was when 9/11 happened, all we talked about was how much it looked like a movie. So it seemed inevitable that movies were inevitably going to circle back upon themselves and go back there. So
people dodging giant chunks of buildings.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I would rather see it in a better movie, but whatever it is, what it is,
It's good that we got some new bad guys, the Koreans.
Hooray! Yeah. We can all appreciate that.
Good news, Arabs. The North Koreans are here.
And unlike the new Red Dawn, they were always Korean. Right. So,
but it's a rogue Korean cell. I should say.
Yes. They were very careful. It's not North Korea. It's not North Korea. Not North Korea.
But also, he's like the most wanted Korean bad guy ever, but no one's ever seen his picture.
Yeah, there was a lot
There's
of sloppiness with
that. All right. So what are our numbers?
You gave it
4.3.
Yeah, you gave it 4.3. I was very careful. I think this is better than average, and if this is what you're looking for, it's worth it, and you'll enjoy it a little. 5.2.
I'm destroying my reputation as the guy who hates everything. I give it a 6.8. I had a good time.
It gives us a very solid 5.4. It will deliver exactly what you think it will, and maybe a little bit more.
Yes, dumb but a hoot.
Where is it in the Tomatoland?
Oh, it's at 42%. We like it better than Tomatoland.
Some people do. Bye.